Assalamu alaikum and Fawzi, Osama.
Yes, I'm here.
What?
كل سنة وانت طيبين.
كل عام وانت بخير. Right?
Wait, we did that last week for New Year's, right?
Yes, but this has nothing to do with New Year's. This is the second Habibis year.
Oh my God, season 2.
Oh my God.
Season 2.
We made it.
We made it a full year. We did a full year of the Habibis.
We'd like
It's
to
incredible.
get born like not on Christmas, but close enough so that they can still get 2 gifts instead of one.
Yep.
We didn't even time that. We didn't try to start at the beginning of 2021. We tried to start earlier. We just
We did a few. We did a few pilot episodes, right, to figure out if we were any good at podcasting.
Spoiler:
We were
weren't.
not. We were not.
we were not. We really
still went through it.
It took a while to find it, but I will say between that first pilot episode and like the third pilot episode, it was such a big difference.
Absolutely.
I remember that. It wasn't good yet, but it was better.
Much. The first episode was
I
like,
just
maybe we
remembered
should
I was
start.
just laughing the entire time, and that was good enough for me.
Yeah, that was it though. Like it was nice to just catch up every week, and I think that's really why this podcast started, because we just wanted to catch up.
Yep.
Exactly. It's really good that now we have a solid excuse for us to talk regularly.
Right. Yep.
Instead of we should talk one time, inshallah. Now, like,
Inshallah.
see you on Sunday, inshallah.
Yep. Yeah, still inshallah.
It's still inshallah, of course. You never know.
But now it's a scheduled inshallah. Instead
It's
of a
very
random
scheduled, inshallah. Yeah.
It's as close as you can get to certainty. But
Yes.
still.
Yep. It's mostly certain at this point.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is legitimately the thing I look forward to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have here our first pilot recording was Sunday, December 20th of 2022. Sorry, 2020.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great.
I still have that. I have
That's
to listen to
ridiculous.
it again. I don't remember what we spoke about.
I don't know either. I have no idea.
Like, if you asked me this time last year that we would still be doing it a year in, I wouldn't have thought that.
Yeah. I would have
Well, like,
hoped.
that we'd have a bunch of people listening to us at all. That's on its own. It still surprises me every week.
It's wonderful. That part's wonderful. I have the notes of the first pilot episode, and there's just 2 notes. At 7:34, it says Stadia.
Oh, wow.
And at 52 minutes and 15 seconds, it says haggling. Those are the only 2 timestamps I have.
It's all coming back to me, but Stadia really dates it. Oh my God.
Stadia really. now we know when this was recorded.
Yeah, pretty much.
Some of my notes says Ouya somewhere.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. I'm sure it does.
I still have my
there's-
Ouya.
I have my Ouya around somewhere, but I think I flashed something else to it.
I have 2. I have 2 Ouyas. One in a box that was
Oh, for resale.
yeah. No.
You're gonna get really rich.
I had plans to make an Ouya game, like a multiplayer Ouya. So I got a second one just in case they sell out. So yeah,
Because they sold out. Oh,
yeah, it was a hot
very
item.
optimistic.
No, but it was a hot item at
Was
one
it?
point for a very, very small window. It was,
For about 7 days.
yeah, exactly when I ordered the second one.
Yeah. Oh my God. Ouya. Yeah, no, I think Super Crate Box was on the box for the Ouya.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
I remember playing it on the.
Because we, at the Lambury, we just ported Super Crate Box to anything. Because it was a very simple game, very straightforward. And the guys over at Yo-Yo Games, they would always use Super Crate Box as a test to see if it ported properly to other platforms. So every time they ported it, they were like, "Can we use Super Crate Box?" We were like, "Yeah, if we can have the build when you're done." So it was a very good deal for a while.
It was. I can imagine. I'm pretty
Just
sure
like,
I played it on.
Very possible.
Yeah.
Very possible. But then we did 53 more episodes.
Yeah.
I'm just scrolling through the list of episodes, and we have some wacky episodes.
I love the titles. The titles of the.
I think that used to be fully my responsibility, and then kind of became our responsibility later on.
Yeah.
Kind of suggested in.
Yeah.
I think my favorite part about the podcast is that how it constantly surprises me with its long reach. I think
Right.
I think a month, a couple of weeks ago, just before the break, like I was sending like a message company-wide to, my new job saying hi and I'm here and stuff like that. And it's like gonna post on like this intra-social network thing that we have, and the people can comment on it. And there's a lot of comments from people like, saying the usual welcome to the company and that kind of stuff, a lot of nice things. But I think like every other comment, there was a Habibis fan somewhere. Like there were people that literally commented Habibis forever, or it's great to have a Habibi here, or something like that.
Wow.
So it still like really surprises me, the reach. And like, like there's people in game development kind of like pop up here and there that listen to the podcast. So that's very heartwarming, really.
Yeah, it really is. I think it's an interesting podcast too, because we've never really talked about where to position it or what it is.
No.
Yeah.
It's just us talking about video games because we once made a DM group DM about playing video games, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of like conversations just kind of happened, and I think it's interesting that it's a games podcast that is very much a game developer's perspective, but it's also a culture podcast, and that the cultural perspective isn't the usual.
It's us.
It's us, but it's exactly that.
Our game developers drinking tea.
Right. Yeah, just drinking
It's
tea.
in the
Although
title.
I have to admit, not drinking tea today. I feel very bad.
I have my tea right here. I would share with you for it so far.
Shukran. Yeah, no, I have a Fanta. I had my booster shot yesterday, so I'm a little down. So I need more sugar.
How are you feeling?
Cool. How are you feeling? You're not good with needles, right?
I'm really bad with needles. No, it was really funny. I have a watch, right, that keeps track of my heart rate and my blood oxygen. It's a watch made for aviation. But it tracks a lot of vital data, because that's also good to know during flight, right? Like your blood oxygen, your heart rate, stuff like that. So yesterday night I was like, let's just see what time it is, and then I went like, I can check my heart rate, and my resting heart rate is like between 60 and 70 something, right? And then for basically the hour before the injection, as I was on my way, it was like over 100.
Wow.
And then around the time I had to get the injection, it was like spiking up to like 120. And I'm like, yo, that's not good. But yeah, no, they were very nice about it. They switched the way they do the jab here in the Netherlands. So it used to be you just go into a little room, you get the thing, and then you leave the little room, right? But that takes too long, so they now just put like 15 chairs in a row, and the person with the needle like has a little cart and just goes chair by chair, right? They're sitting behind each other. Very fast, very bad if you have a phobia of needles, because you literally see it coming at you. So I couldn't, so they still found me a little room on the side and just did it there. And that was really it was nice. And they had a little can of Coca-Cola for me. That they just had drinks with sugar there to boost your energy after the panic. And then they had a little place where I could sit. It was like was cold. There were chairs, but I just sat on the floor to like cool down. I really wanted to just roll over and put my face on the floor. Just be like,
I'm sorry,
cold.
Habibi.
Oh man, I'm sorry you went through that.
Yeah,
it's okay.
You're safer now. It's worth it.
Yes,
right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like it, I still, it's the kind of thing where it helps everybody. So I'm just gonna do it.
Yeah.
My dad is currently in Egypt with COVID. So
no,
he's recovering. Well, I mean, by the time this recording is out, I think he'll be home, and inshallah he'll be fine. It's one of those things with Arabs, you never quite know how they're doing.
Yeah.
My dad's a proud man. He's a proud man, so he's never going to admit if he isn't doing well, right? Even though he has that thing, my dad has that thing where if he's really sick, he's like, "Oh no, I'm fine, alhamdulillah." And then he stubs his toe, and he's like, my foot is broken. It's broken. We'll put that there, huh? So it's really hard to tell how my dad is doing, but you can normally tell how he's doing by just assuming the opposite of what he's saying about his health, right?
My parents do the same thing. They're like if they're sick, like I was really sick last week. Oh my god, I thought I was gonna die. Like, all right, so how are you now? I was like, no, why didn't you tell me? I was like, well, we didn't want to, worry you.
Yeah.
So we thought you wanted to wait until something bad happens without worrying me,
Yep. It's kind, and I understand how it works, but it's a very just it's a very funny thing to just be like, oh, my dad is really saying that he's in pain, so he's fine.
Yeah, but there's the flip side of it is that while they're sick, they'll be like, I was sick and nobody asked about me. And
Right.
like, well, we didn't know. He didn't tell us.
Does your dad have to be sick before you ask how your dad is doing it on?
Exactly. I almost met our maker and you never called me. Why you do this, Faz?
Although
I was like, Dad, I called you last week, literally.
My dad also has that thing where he's just always like, oh, like I don't have many years left. And I'm like, you're like 60, you're like 60, what? You're like in mid 60s. You've been saying that for as long as I've been alive.
Oh my
You've been
God,
saying
that's
I'm not. He's like, I mean, I'm not going to get much older. I'm like, hey, like inshallah, khair, inshallah, everything will be fine. But B, you've been saying this for 30 years. For 33 years, you've been dying
so
in the
true.
next 2 years. What is happening?
Technically, it's true, but we're all dying slowly.
Oh, some of being unusually cheerful today.
A little bit philosophical. I wouldn't say it's.
Osama, don't forget, Fauzi, Osama is a dad.
Yeah, and I am
He's
dying. I don't have
already
many years
switched
left.
to dad mode.
Funny.
Yeah, he just switched to Arab dad mode years ago. He stubs his toe. He's like, my toe is broken.
See, the whole time you were telling your stories, now I'm starting to see it from the other side.
Oh, my dad was always like really since I was a kid, maybe 5 years old. He's like, I am the past and you are the future.
Yeah.
I was like, Dad, like I'm 5. You're very much the present right now.
Oh, but that feeling though, when you have kids and your whole life goals shift whatever they need, that's
Right.
real. And no matter what you think, you're not prepared for it. It just
No, I believe it. I believe it. I mean, it's going to be interesting for me because so much of my life goal has been like the games industry. So I feel I kind of have a kid.
Yeah.
Like I don't really care about me all that much. I just want this industry to be a better place for everybody in there. But
you have a problem, kid,
Okay.
by the way. Just say.
this kid has some issues.
Very troubled kid.
Yeah, I've been trying to send them to therapy. I've been trying to send them to the dean at school. I've been
Beyond help.
Oh no.
it's really hard. It's a very complicated kid.
Send it to detention.
Yeah.
I tried. Didn't work.
Didn't work.
Yeah. Kick them out of class. They just go to a different class. It's really hard. It's really hard. But but I really believe that's true about being a parent, Osama. I especially think being an Arab parent, there's a weird mix of like fatalism and like hope.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
And I feel that's a very Arab thing. We're more in touch with death than Western society anyway.
Agreed.
I think.
Yeah.
So I can see how that mixes together in my dad to like, I'm dying. And then was the scary thing because my dad had a heart attack last year or a year and a half ago by now.
Oh no.
And then all of us were like, wait, is he for real? Is he actually? Oh, he's actually dying. Okay, let's get a hospital.
Oh my God.
Oh no.
So I think he's a little smarter about where he says he's dying because right now it could be true, and it sends the kids into like a panic, obviously.
Of course.
So all of us just immediately like mobilize to like figure that out. But whew, yeah, parent Joe.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully he'll be back on his feet in no time, and it's
Inshallah.
it's a light sickness.
It sounds good. It sounds light to mild. He's tired, but he'll be fine. And inshallah, he's listening to this. If you're listening to this, Dad, I hope you're back here in the Netherlands, so I can come say hi and like bring you tea, and then you can tell me that you broke your toe or something. There'll be stories. My dad brought the Switch.
It is. Oh yes, he's still playing the Switch.
He's still playing the darts game in the 51 board games.
Oh, nice.
He's getting really good at it. It's really, he's like throwing 180s and then flexing his muscles at us
Yeah. So,
every time he does.
If he's also listening to the podcast, whatever it is that is troubling him right now in terms of sickness or something of the sort, just rub some olive oil on your chest and drink some
Yes.
tea with sage,
Or
and you'll be
7-Up.
cured. Yeah, or 7
7
Up.
Up.
Yeah.
7
Or
Up,
mix
Colossus.
both.
Try it 7 Up.
That's right, 7 Up, you're good. Get back on your
Yes.
feet and you defeat all diseases.
You can
You know
find it in
what's
the
funny?
medicine aisle, any of the pharmacy.
Egypt is obviously very, very propaganda-y right now. And
Yeah.
they just straight up do not admit that COVID exists.
Wait, for real?
There's like 700. There's officially 730 cases of COVID, right,
Wow.
in
A
Egypt.
country of over 100 million people.
With Cairo as like the. So when my dad called that he had COVID, he's like, "Oh, there's not much COVID here in Egypt." one of my siblings just went like, "Dad, unbelievable! You're one of the 730 people in Egypt that has COVID." My dad's just like, right. And we're like, "No, Dad, no, there's more."
What are the odds?
One of 730.
The lottery.
You should buy
Yeah,
a lottery ticket. You know, like you should
Exactly.
use this luck. He could be the next lottery billionaire.
Yeah,
Like the odds
yeah.
of 700 to 100 million. It's pretty close.
It's very good odds. But yeah, so
Now you made me very curious about the rest of the world.
enjoy Wikipedia. I'm not Wikipedia and COVID anymore. Life is enough.
Yeah. Man, Jordan's
I'm,
initial response to COVID was like amongst the funniest things. Funny and also like,
Sad and dark.
sad and scary. I was like,
Yeah.
they immediately go like, we're going to go full lockdown. Everybody needs to stay home. You're only allowed outside within certain hours and something like that. And then the police, patrolling the streets, like there was like a full on curfew, like to the point, I think like early
Right.
days in the situation happening, there were more people under arrest than actually with infection. there were more people arrested than infected, just to make sure that they get everybody under control. Because
Right.
like in the Middle East, tell a bunch of Arabs you're not allowed to do
Yeah.
this.
Right, and they're going to do it.
Like, what?
And you're going to say like, there's a disease, and if you go outside, you're going to catch it. And they're going to say like, well, it's up to Allah. You know, like I don't have anything.
Yeah, if Allah wants me to get it, I will get it.
I will get it, and otherwise I'll be fine. And I'm like, do you also cross the street like that? You know, like you don't look left, right? You just say like, if Allah wants me to be hit by a car, Allah wants me to be hit by a car. Like,
I'm pretty sure we drive like that.
Yeah.
we kind of do. To be fair,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Point made.
I'm gonna ride this car to work if Allah wants me to be alive.
Well, especially with your car, though. I remember your car being like a major character in some of our early episodes. If Allah wants me to get to work, Allah will keep it dry. Allah will keep it dry.
I'll do that. I'm basically like do the prayers that try to negate all those other people that are praying for rain. I'm down like, please don't rain, as I go to work every day.
Yeah, your car was such a main character. It was red, right? It was a little red car. Do I have that?
It's not red. It was dark blue. Yeah,
blue. It was blue. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a mess.
I just genuinely believe it's like the Mr. Bean car in my imagination.
Wait, do you have a picture? Did you ever share a picture with us? I'd love to see what it looks like.
I don't think I have. It's a 2000 and it's a year 2000 Polo. It's a Volkswagen.
So basically, the car from Mr. Bean.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's the Mini, but close.
It is, but the aesthetic is similar.
The aesthetic from the inside, for sure. Like, I think at some point the windows were broken, and the only way I could keep them up was with a screwdriver. So I had a screwdriver on the side of the door to keep the windows open.
I remember. I think an uncle of mine had a car where all the window, like the rotating things for the windows, the handle for the window, they had all fallen off except for one. Oh. So if you wanted to open the windows, you had to pass that thing around.
Wow. It's a key.
Put it on the other window and just open that window and then give it back.
I love
It's, it's so funny and very relatable for me. So like, people were like, how do I open the window? It's like, you just remove the screwdriver and then put it back. you want it open half? Just, remove the screwdriver, then hold the glass and put the screwdriver back in. And you have like a half open at this point.
I imagine, though, you don't get a lot of rust driving old cars, at least compared to Canada. My first car literally had a hole in the ground. I could see outside.
What?
I could see the ground. Yeah.
Was a Flintstone car.
Like a Flintstones, yeah.
It wasn't a big hole. It was a tiny hole, but you could still see through it. I could literally see the ground under. And in winter, that was really cold and uncomfortable.
Sama Dabadu to work.
Yeah.
You know what? I can 100% see Osama do that, to be honest.
I remember asking my mechanic at the time, I'm like, should I like get it treated for rust? He's like, it's too late. It's too far gone. At this point, if you remove the rust, there's no car left.
You know what? An Egyptian mechanic would have done it.
Yeah, I believe you.
An Egyptian mechanic would have done it. They'd gone like, well, the car is all gone, but if we put some metal plates here and we do some duct tape there.
Get some oil drums and start pounding on them there.
I'll borrow this piece from the fridge. We'll make it happen. Just give me 6 hours, come back, go have some food, have some tea. Come back, it'll be ready.
I love it.
You have like 4 different sized wheels and like,
Oh, no.
But it drives.
Yeah, it goes from point A to B. Or Alif to Bat.
I think that's as far as Egyptian cars goes, to be honest. They go from Alif to B.
That's it.
Khalas. Like, we're not doing that. That's too far. Too far.
Well, if Allah wants, we'll get there.
I remember in my car, like I always used to didn't have that much money, so I always like buy used tires instead of new tires to use, and they used to get punctured all the time. So I was like, I'm still an expert at changing like tires because I have to change tires like every 3rd week.
Okay, but Fauzi, did you try to
take it back to the gas station and like have the dude patch it up? Because the tire was punctured and then it's patched and then it's patched again.
but did you try to keep the tires in place with a screwdriver? Because that would explain the punctures. Just checking.
I really want a picture of this car. So badly.
Not with the screwdriver, no. But but there was a point where, like, I think there's 4 screws that holds the tire into place, and one of them got lost. Yeah. And I had to drive to the nearest gas station to see if they have one one extra screws. And they did, but it was from a different car. So like you can look at my wheel and they'd be like 3 matching screws. And the 4th one looked odd, but nothing that could go wrong in a car that I haven't experienced. Everything.
Yeah.
With that piece of crap car that I had. I have experienced all kinds of car problems. And ever since, I was like, I don't want to own a car ever again. It's so much work. I'd just rather rent a car that works, use it, and then give it back, and it's somebody else's problem.
I mean, if it's not part of your day-to-day commute, that's the right call of a car, right?
Mm-hmm. And that's also that, Osama. I think from then I vowed that I never want to commute like a long commute to work if I could help it. Yeah. And if I do have to have a long commute, I don't want to drive. Like I'll take a bus, I'll take a train, because it used to be a 45-minute drive for me in Jordan to get from home to work, and it was like the most stressful 45 minutes, an hour and a half of my day. Every day, going in, going back. I'm like, when I'm leaving work, I'm just kissing everybody on the cheek. Like, I'm gonna miss you. I hope I'll see you tomorrow. We never know, but inshallah, I'll survive. I'll make it back home. We'll see.
Oh my God! Yep, yeah. No, I believe it. Also, 45 minutes. That's quite a distance, isn't it?
It was like, if there wasn't traffic, I think it would be a 15 to 20-minute ride.
Right. Yeah.
But with traffic and you gotta drive with fahlawa. I don't know how to translate that even. Fahlawa, you gotta be sneaky as you you curve your way through intersections and in between cars
and know the little side roads.
Yeah. Like if I'm just
when to-
following the main roads and driving like following the rules all the time, there'll be easily an hour or an hour 15 to get to work.
Yep.
Yeah.
But if you drive one part with your car on two wheels through that little side street where your car really doesn't fit, then you might skip like 3 minutes and lose your side mirrors. But John, what's more important?
Chances are you've lost them already. Anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
I've lost them a couple of times.
Right.
Like I had the situation where like one of the mirrors at some point was hung with duct tape for like a couple of weeks. Like I put a new one in.
I remember I had a deer run into my car in the U.S. and it took one of my mirrors straight off, and I was like, well, this is fine.
Wow.
I'm like, it's just the mirror missing. And I was like, wait, is it illegal to drive in this country without a mirror? And then it got a little more complicated because it took me a moment to go like, wait, this could be bad. But my first response was like, okay, I have another one.
You know, I hit a deer as well, right? But
no, I didn't know.
Well, so to be more specific, the deer hit me.
Okay.
I was driving straight. But the deer jumped into the side of the car and then took the mirror straight off.
Okay.
For me, no, I definitely, and I'm very sad about it, of course, still to this day.
But were you okay? Because it's dangerous for the people in the car as well, right?
Yeah, it was actually the car was a total loss.
Wow.
So basically, I was driving my mom's van. I was working as an agent at the time, and my car was kind of big. So whenever I had to do really long, I'd borrow So I borrowed my mom's van, and I was driving from Montreal to Quebec City, which is a 2.5 hour drive. And I was speeding. Like, that's the truth of it. Even though I lied to the cop later and told him, no, I wasn't. He knew that, like, at the speed I was.
If the cop is listening, just send flowers from the CIA. And
CIA agents, we love you.
This was almost exactly 20 years ago. So at this point, I think the cop is retired, fair to say, or close to it. So basically, what happened is I was going about 50 kilometers, 100, because I really wanted to.
Wow, serious speeding.
Yeah. That's the last time in my life I've ever. I learned a hard lesson. Now I'm I never traffic laws. But I was young and had, and so I was speeding. And I just did not have the deer was crossing super fast. I did not have any reaction time. I hit my hood. Hit my windshield. My windshield completely shattered and flew over the top of the car.
Wow!
And you got lucky that it flew over the car.
Yes, lucky. If it went through the windshield into me, I would have been dead for sure. At the speed I was going, the size of this truck. And so I stopped on the side of the road, and I was convinced that I was cut to pieces because the windshield shattered into me, like on my face, all over the place.
Right.
So I was convinced that I was looking in whatever was left of the mirror, and I was convinced that I was bleeding all over but I was untouched. There was like not a scratch on it. Like the windshield of those minivans are plastified. So yes, it hit the entire windshield hit me in pieces, but none of it cut.
Yeah, and that's how they're built. Yeah.
And the airbag never hit because it didn't hit the bumper. It kind of was in the air and hit the hood and the windshield, and it didn't trigger the airbag. So it was like and I couldn't get out. I had to get out from the back of the car. It crumpled the light doors.
Right.
And I was in shock. I called the cops, and the cops stay in the car. Don't get out if it's safe, if the car's not on fire or anything. And if you do get out, stay on the side of the road. But I actually got out, walked around, went to check on the deer.
So it was not the last time you broke the rules. It was almost the last time you broke the rules.
It was the last time
do this thing. And I was like, no,
because you're in complete shock. I was in complete shock. Like my parents would I called my parents next so that my dad could pick me up because I recognized that I could not drive this car at least that much.
And your dad was like, "Are you okay?" So I'm like, "Yeah, it's just a little, a little bump in the car. Didn't want to worry
you." It was like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "I think the car's broken." Like I was half answering everything to the point my dad was super worried. He's like, "Are you hurt?" I'm like, "I don't think so. I might be bleeding. I'm not sure." Like that kind of answer. Everything was like, he didn't know what state he was going to find me in. He had no idea. And he must have been speeding to come get me.
Oh my God.
Because he got there in no time. I was between Montreal and Quebec City, but I didn't think about any of that. When you're in shock, you're in shock. I just don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
So I never speed anymore. And I don't let people speed when
I'm glad that you're safe, man. Yeah, that sounds like quite an experience.
And to the cops that are listening, I definitely never speed either. Just never. Just want that to be known to the cops.
To the cops, to all air traffic control people that are listening also. He doesn't speed in the plane.
Never speed at all.
Yeah.
I don't think there are speed laws in general aviation though, so that's pretty good.
You can go as fast as
you want.
airplane. Yeah.
Yeah, you can go as fast as your airplane can take you, I think. At least
The
I'm not
sky's the
aware of
limit.
any speed laws. Yes, this is correct. This is indeed correct.
This is-
I'm going through all the episode titles, and yeah, you're right. There are some good ones here.
Yeah. See, I told you about my idea. I'm probably not going to do anything with it, but at one point I really wanted to make a Habib's card game where every card is titled after the episode.
You start too many projects, mate.
Yeah, I know. Way too many. I'm not going to do
So
this one. I think the end result won't be as good as the this case, but I really like. But like, imagine what would a card?
He said it on the air, so now it has to happen.
No.
There's people expecting it. I'm included.
Do you?
Some of these titles could make for some. Like, what would a card called Arab do? Or a card called Missing Giant Habibi Cat? That's just perfect. Or please email dinosaurs. Like, my mind just races with all the mechanics that you could add to that.
This insult will make it all the way to the borders of China.
And the text like gets out of the border of the card because it's so long.
Yeah, that was about falafel and tamia, wasn't it?
That was that was when Osama claimed that Iraqi kebabs are the best kebabs.
Oh yeah.
And truthfully claimed, I might add. We had experts come.
We're
on
not going to do this again. We're not. I'm
that is very largely debated
by everyone who's wrong. Only everyone. One day. I'll make
if you've just
really
tuned
good
in, we usually talk about video games in this podcast.
I played a video game.
Ooh. You played a video game?
I did.
What?
I could talk about a video game.
Wow, a video game?
Yes. So
why are you always playing Nintendo?
Atari.
Why don't you do something with your life? Huh? Look at Fauzi. Fauzi's an important man.
Very important.
And you're playing
Never
Nintendo.
play games. Never play games. I just eat a lot of meat and rice for lunch.
Fauzi has his business degree, Osama. Huh? How about you? Huh?
I'm a pioneer in the world of animation. It's something, right?
Nice. Well played.
Thank you.
Technically, that was also me, but I'll let it slide.
Osama is also a doctor.
Yes, of course. Dr. Hub.
Dr. Hub.
Yeah. So.
The most specialized doctor of all.
Yes.
Specializes in the matter of the heart.
Yes.
Good time.
You played a game.
Yeah, do you want to hear about it?
I do want to hear about it.
All right.
Yes.
Good. So I played a game called The Pedestrian.
Right.
Yes. Have you heard of it?
Mm-hmm. I played it.
You played it too. Okay, good. So basically, it's a platform puzzle game where you're just trying to take these tiles. These tiles have entrances and exits, and you're trying to connect them in a way that makes sense with the logic of the game, which allows you to leave. So if that makes sense, there are tiles. Each tile is like a small platforming level, and there are keys and other obstacles, and you have to like draw a line between one exit from one tile and one entrance from the other. But there are certain rules, like they can't overlap with other tiles. They have to be on the same side. They can't like wrap around. So you're just placing these tiles and then moving them around, and it gets more complex.
Right,
and the tiles are
just
preset per level, right? Or you have like a deck of tiles in your hand and you choose.
Think of it as a sliding puzzle. Like think of the most Newgrounds like platformer puzzle game, but like really pretty.
Yeah, it is actually, and it is crafted puzzle. Like it's not procedure generated. It's not making a deck in your hand. You're not placing the tiles. The tiles are already there. You're moving them around and creating connections from them. And once you figure out which connections you need, the rest is like a traditional, puzzle.
Then you go through the level that you just made. Basically.
Exactly. It's not a long game.
Sounds like Framed, the game. Do you know that?
Yeah.
It's a little like Framed. It's a little like the Newground Flash games where you had like the little shifty puzzles with platforming.
Yeah.
It's just a very well executed version of the idea.
Agreed.
Very
The
cool.
part that took me by surprise in terms of its execution is that the foreground is actually extremely minimalistic and simple in its art, and the background is actually detailed. Like the part that you don't mostly that was a little bit of a story, that you mostly don't engage in, that you don't play in, is actually well realized the world. So that part was really cool. It's more than it seems. It's not a very long game, and I would actually, if you like puzzle games, I suggest it. It's a good puzzle game. If you don't, it's not going to change your mind about it, but it's a good experience.
Very cool.
I felt it was a very 7 out of 10 kind of game, but it made me really happy to play. Like, it was just nice to see that design idea like pulled out of the box and like done again. Yeah, like it's still a good idea. It's still cool puzzles. It's still like really engaging. So I had a good time with it.
Did you play it till the end?
No, I got like 2/3 of the way, I think.
Okay. So, yeah, I agree with you. There's a little surprise at the end that a little higher than a 7 out of 10, where it shifts a bit, which I don't want to spoil to anyone. But it's not Inscription level. It's not like the game that keeps surprising you over and over. But there's just one part later where I'm like, oh, well, that's interesting. And that explains some of the production choices, like up to that point. So it's good, but for me, it's like an 8 out of 10. It's a good game. If you like puzzle games,
I think we need to agree on what 7 and 8 is, because to me 7 is a good game.
Yeah.
No, we're not gonna have this IGN Kotaku Polygon discussion here. So we'll just
please.
We both
5,
think the game is good.
It means it's the worst game ever, and
the worst game ever,
right?
No, there's
6,
nothing under 5.
Yeah, 6. It means you could still, sponsor us and give us ads, because we're going to give you a 6, give you lower. 7 is good, right?
I just want to know to all my press friends that I don't endorse what Osama just said.
For me, I think every game is worth checking out. Even the bad ones, you get to know what not to do. Like as a game developer, that's how I see it, right? So like you're always like, these are really cool because they're really interesting solutions to design problems that this team has figured out. And sometimes the design solution wasn't figured out or wasn't good. And then you look at it and go like, oh, that didn't work out. So that's probably not a solution I could go with these kind of situation or something like that. So there's always something to learn.
Yes, my firm belief is that the best games either have like an 8 or 9 or a 5 or 3. Those are the best games, right?
Yeah.
And like Earth Defense Force got 5s all the time, and that's still my favorite game series of all time.
It's a great game. I like it a lot.
ADF is so good, but it used to get 5s all the time, and only recently, people started to go like, "Oh, actually, this is just really good at what it does."
Yeah.
Love Earth Defense Force.
Yeah, like we were talking about Swiri games like a while ago, in which like they're very divisive into people either loving them or like completely they don't understand how do people play this. Yeah. And like development wise, you can always have a discussion around these games. There's always stuff that like I can see what he was trying to go for, or like I could see what worked out really well, or I could see how this was built intrigued, but also could see what didn't work out and why, and like have that kind of conversation. That for me is always fascinating. So for me, I'm becoming like that like you're if you probably have a friend like this that's way too much into movies that like while you're watching the movie and he's like, oh, but the lighting in the scene and the editing and all of that stuff. I'm that annoying friend when it comes to video games. I'm more like playing them for the craftsmanship almost as much as the gameplay.
Yeah, I hear
that.
But no, I don't know. I think that friend is you for me, by the way, with movies.
That's also true. I'm annoying in both ways.
Right. Well, I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
Appreciate it.
Well, yeah, but it can still technically be annoying, but you can apprate it.
Yeah.
I'll try not to be overbearing in my analysis of things, unless I'm asked. Then you'll have to shut me up. Well, speaking of movies, I watched a movie.
You watched the movie?
Yes, I watched the movie. I was telling you guys about the nominations for it's like award seasons, and so there's a lot of movies that start to garner a lot of hype. And as every year, I make a list and I go through them, watching a bunch of these movies. This week, I want to talk about a movie called The Power of the Dog. It's a Western movie. First of all, it's on Netflix, so you can watch it there. I think it's been nominated for best, like a whole bunch of. I think it has the most nominations for the Golden Globes.
Oh, it has. What's his name?
It's had Doctor Strange.
That guy.
Doctor Strange. I made so many bad Doctor Strange jokes.
Cumberbatch. That's it.
Yeah. I made so many bad jokes as I'm watching this movie. Every time he does something, I'm like, strange. Or something of the sort. Really, really bad jokes. Yes, he's in it. He's talking in a Western American accent the entire time, which I thought was very, very cool.
Did he give a magical performance?
Oh, Rami, I should watch movies with you from now on. You understand my brand of humor really, really well.
But yeah, okay, the accent.
The performance was fantastic. Very mystical, if I might say. Yeah, he's an excellent
we're stuck here. This is the rest
You two are not going to stop, are you?
The movie was really like a portal into another world.
I appreciate you both. You know that very, very.
Yeah,
well.
you do. Are you sure? Because we could keep going for quite a while. I
I'm sure you can.
I appreciate also everybody who's still listening to this.
You know, both of the people who didn't turn off by now.
Mom, I love you.
Yeah, and Robbie's dad too.
Those are the only two listeners left.
Only two listeners left. And my mom is about had it.
Oh my god.
So it's a Western movie, and it's a drama. It's a drama, and it's building some kind of. There's a very uneasy tone the entire time as you watch this movie. You feel like something bad is gonna happen, but like the events that are unraveling, they're not really that spectacular. It's like there's a lot of cowboy drama, but not the kind of cowboys who are like riding horses and shooting and all that stuff. No, they're just cowboys looking after cows and living on ranches and spit on the floor, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And it has it's a character drama that is focused a lot on performances and how these characters interact with each other. And it's a slow burner. So like you're watching these things and you go like, all right, these a lot of these events that I'm they're not spectacular in their nature, but they're also unusual for this time and setting. And I have to say that I was thinking that it's an okay movie until literally the last part of it. Like the ending of the movie is what made it really memorable for me. Like, didn't see it coming. Fantastic. I think like that elevated the movie into like a really, really well done piece of work.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like it builds up to sort of like something. It builds up to something. Is it the kind of movie where you wish you could rewind time and like watch it again, or is it more of a movie where you're happy that you've seen it and good?
That's it. You're happy that you've seen it the once, and I think once you've seen it the once, it could be good. And then like it's one of those movies that you might want to watch it again if you're like interested in like how it got made and all of that stuff coming together, and like how that tension was built, and like why did you feel tense, or why did you feel that something is about to happen, or all of that stuff. It's a joint production. The director is from New Zealand, actually. Jane Campion is her name. But it's a joint production. So like there's New Zealand, Australia, UK, Canada production. So it's like a whole bunch of places, and it's filmed mostly in the South Island of New Zealand. It's also one of the draws for me there, as New Zealand is one of my homes, and like seeing some familiar landscapes is always pretty good. Nice. One last thing I want to mention about this movie is I thought the soundtrack was very strange, and
strange.
But this see, I'm telling you, it was strange. Okay. Wasn't it like,
that took me a sec.
I paused at it and I was like, why is the music like this? And I started reading about it, and the composer is one of the band members of Radiohead. And the composer wanted to work with a much larger orchestra, but due to the pandemic, he ended up just recording Johnny Greenwood, for those who know Radiohead, he ended up recording a lot of the instruments himself and overlaying them to kind of create that sense of an orchestra. But it was never an orchestra recording the soundtrack, which I thought was also very interesting. And like as you watch this movie, like I think I would have liked to know this tidbit of information before watching the movie, because it would have made a lot of the listening to it a bit more enjoyable. But yeah,
well, I appreciate you telling us. Thank you.
Yeah, weird movie. Very interesting ending. Lots of really cool undertones that are never really spoken out loud, which I think is one of the things that I really appreciate about the script. Mm-hmm. And the way it was filmed, and I looked it up later, and that's her experience too. The cinematographer, it makes you feel that you're almost like watching a modern day documentary, or like, it's kind of like they're getting people to, when documentaries get actors to react actual events. So It looks like people in outfits, but it looks like, modern day TV cameras and that kind of stuff. Something feels odd about it. And the way the movie was shot, the cinematography has a bit of that into it. I think it was also different than you would expect from a cowboy set. It's a slow burn movie. So like if you don't appreciate those kinds of movies that like, artsy, takes its time building sets or like that, might be too slow for some. But I found it to be quite different and interesting.
Well, I'll give it a watch, and I'll make some time and give it a watch.
Yeah, cool.
It's on my list now. Thank you.
Cool. Well, video games is more Shin Megami Tensei, but that took way too much time.
That's the next 6 months, right?
Yeah, exactly. The next 6 months, you just add that to my schedule. There's like 15 minutes to an hour of Shin Megami Tensei.
That's me and Destiny. Destiny is still moving forward, but the required Destiny fragment.
Yes.
I am going for the seal again, which is still one of my favorite things about Destiny. Is every season, every year, every expansion has these little medals that you can get, and they're like real life medals, right? But you unlock them by achieving things in the game. Yeah, so you do these achievements, and then in the store, basically you get like a discount code that allows you to buy it. But if you don't have the discount code, it's $777,777.
Whoa, that's
and
a lot.
The maximum checkout is like 1,000 or so you just can't buy it unless you have that code. Wow. And you only get that code, you only get that reward by completing certain things in the game. And every year they do a Moments of Triumph, which is sort of like it's a bunch of achievements tied to the last year of Destiny, and if you get the majority of them, you can get that little metal pin. And I have all of them until now, so I just started properly looking at this ones, and I have until the 22nd of February. So the race is on.
Okay.
But it's been really nice to just have like a really strong goal to play again for. Like I'm really still enjoying the Star Horse. It's still funny. But the metal pin is just a really exciting thing to be. So excited for that. Also just such a cool idea.
It is a cool idea. I mean, I still don't have any idea what the Star Horse is about, even though a long time, but I could get behind a metal pin.
Yeah.
Pun intended.
Yeah. The Star Wars is a representative of the consciousness of our 9 planets. It's very simple, Osama. Come on, keep up.
Of course.
But yeah, so on the way to the metal pin, you also unlock a T-shirt that you can buy. Wow. So I already unlocked the T-shirt, so that's coming. I'm actually wearing the one from 3 years ago now.
It's such an amazing concept.
Is
this
smart.
the only game that's done this? I've never heard of this.
I don't know, but they do it very consistently. They do it with like special items. There's one that's really prestigious when a new raid comes out, usually if you complete it in the first week that it's out.
Yep.
And they add some extra difficulty modifiers in it that first week. Yep. If you complete it in the first week, there's usually a jacket that you can buy, but you can only purchase it if you do it in the first week.
Yeah.
There's no other way. So very few people have that jacket. I have 2 of them. And I never wear them, but they're hanging here because they're like special memories,
of course,
right? Mm-hmm. Of like sitting down with 5 friends and like really grinding out a raid until you finally do it.
I was going to ask if anybody's ever stopped you to ask you about the top.
No, but the T-shirts. The T-shirts are really fun because you immediately recognize a Destiny player.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The only people that have that shirt are the people who have completed Moments of Triumph halfway for a specific year. So if you see somebody wearing a brown Destiny T-shirt, they played a lot of Destiny in 2020. Right?
Very cool.
That's very cool. I love that. So I'm going for The Seal, and then beyond that, I watched 2 movies. I rewatched Interstellar.
Ah, a good movie.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I rewatched it, because I don't even like Interstellar all that much.
Really? I really
yeah.
liked it.
The problem with Interstellar is, for me, it's the same movie as Inception, but different.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, I think I might have explained this on the podcast even, but like the short version, it's a dad who's trying to get back to his kids by doing a mission that only he's capable of. The mission takes him to a place that nobody else can go, with a small team of trusted people, mostly trusted people. And then ends up in 3 places where time moves differently, and then ends up at an emotional catharsis at a hospital bed. And that's it. I've just described both movies, right? It's both Inception and Interstellar. So when I watched Interstellar,
they're both excellent movies, though.
That's kind of the thing. I really liked Inception.
Yeah.
So when I got to Interstellar, it was kind of like, I've seen this, right? It didn't feel, it wasn't surprising me anymore, because as soon as I realized that was what we were following, it was just kind of the same movie, down to like the people falling off a thing to get to the emotional catharsis, right? Like in Inception, they have to jump off the building, and Interstellar, they have to fall into the black hole. Like, it's literally the same script, which just, it was a little tiring. And then the Interstellar thing also had the downside of it being at a time where I was really tired of humanity stands on the brink of destruction, and Matthew McConaughey is going to go into space to save us, right? But I didn't want that story anymore. I wanted us as humanity to fix the world, instead of just making stories about somebody on their own fixing the world, right? Like, I didn't believe in the individual hero sort of.
That's very fair.
So I rewatched it the other day, and that movie is much better than I give it credit for.
Okay.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Like, I still have all the criticisms I had of it, but especially the first act of the movie is brutally good.
Yeah, really well put together.
And then up until the sequence after the first planet, where they lose a lot of time, like that sequence where he's catching up with what has happened, is like heart destroying, right? And then there's obviously the sequence with with docking, where they try to dock to the spinning, crashing space station. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. The entire movie is beautiful, but that sequence is beautiful. I'm not the biggest fan of the conclusion, but it works, you know. I still think I like Dunkirk and Inception better, but Interstellar is a good movie. There's really no way around it. And then, because I was like, you know what, that scene where my heart got pulverized in Interstellar was pretty good. I went and watched Your Name again. Which
Your Name is really good.
Pulverizes your heart as well. And I was like, you know, all this hurt is feeling nice. So let's go watch a movie that people say hurts. And then I found Whiplash, which is a movie about a kid who wants to be a drummer. It ends up under this really abusive, extreme teacher that tries to push this kid in very unpractical, unpleasant, evil ways, right? And that was too much.
What a movie, though! What a great movie.
Yeah. Okay, Your Name, cried for an hour, but Whiplash, I had an anxiety attack. I was like halfway through that movie, I was like, nope. I watched it to the end. Yeah. It is very good, and I will never watch that movie again.
Yeah. I concur with that. Actually, the movie was excellent. I have a hard time saying I loved it. It was excellent, but I was so angry, so angry at the teacher character about so much.
J.K. Simmons.
Yeah, he's such an excellent actor.
What an excellent actor. It's one of his best performances. I think he got an Oscar for this one.
Not
deservedly.
Surprised. But I was so angry at that character that's the only emotion that I take away from it. So yeah, it's an excellent movie for that, but I haven't loved it.
I think it's an important movie for creatives.
Yeah, I agree.
But I think it's an important movie for creatives under the one condition, which is that they understand that this movie is not a happy ending.
No.
Right.
It's not aspirational.
Right. It's a movie about, a kid losing everything. It's not a movie about a kid like achieving his goals. It's a movie about a kid losing everything. And I think as long as you understand that, this is pretty much required viewing if you're going to be a creative. Yeah. Like, if the movie is not giving you anxiety attacks, you have bad priorities in your life. Yeah. I think
bad trauma that you need to resolve.
You need to work with, because like it's wonderful. It's really well done. It's super well executed. But like you said, it's not aspirational. It's impressive, right? Like, and you can argue every point from every director's from every point of view, but it's not good. It's bad. It's bad what is happening.
The soundtrack, though.
Oh, everything about that movie. Like even the shots of like water and like like water and blood and like drips on the cymbals and
yes.
the close up on Fletcher's on the teacher's eyes, like
what a powerful movie.
So powerful movie. It's the best way to describe it.
Powerful. Evil but powerful. Yeah. And then that was it. I don't think I did anything else this week. I got into a let's watch a movies mood and then rewatched some of my favorite movies and then added Whiplash. And then people said like, "Oh, you should watch Uncut Gems." And I remember watching Uncut Gems. That gave me anxiety as well. But it didn't give me Whiplash level of anxiety.
The very different thing.
Right. Because Uncut Gems is it's a little extreme for me, right? Like this is not I can't imagine that in my life.
Yeah.
That's that whole situation. But the Whiplash situation, that could be me. Could have been me, right? So yeah. Anything else anybody played? Watched, did?
Next week, I'm going to tell you all an adventure game on Twitter that by the time this airs would have been complete. So you can be able to talk
the ending
about
is coming?
It's coming. It's coming fast. So yeah, I'm excited to talk about that. A lot of people have been asking how I came up with it, what parts of it. So I'll spill all the beans.
Nice. I'm excited about that.
Thank you.
Cool. One more question, because I wanted to ask this question. What was y'all's favorite episode of the Habibis?
Okay. So I have an answer. It might not be what you...
That's okay.
My favorite episode is the Osama Life. And I wasn't even on it, but that's actually why it was my favorite episode. So I have a funny story with that. I was missing. I wasn't here. And y'all included me by literally splicing in my laugh track after some jokes. You did it, I believe, 3 times. But this is the funny part. When I listened back to the episode, I only caught on that you did that on the 3rd time.
Which was at the end.
Yes.
All the way at the end.
Because I am so used to hearing our dynamic and me laughing. And I was laughing along at the same parts that you added the laugh track that I drowned out my own laughter. So after the episode, I was like, yo, thank you for like splicing me in. And Robbie was like, yeah, the 3 times. I'm like, wait, there were 3 times? And I listened to it again, this time forcing myself not to laugh. So that's my answer. It's Osama.
Nice. Fauzi, any idea?
Man, there's so many. I think there's the flowers from the CIA one probably is the one that because it has an everlasting effect, right? So like since that episode, and then people started sending us pictures of flowers from all over the world, with like so many different languages on it. I think after that episode, we realized that aunties and uncles just do that everywhere, basically. And then Rami went ahead and did that bot that just creates Habibis flowers and sends them every morning on Twitter or on our Discord. So I think like somebody started listening to the podcast afterwards, like, what does the Habibis bot send us? Why is Auntie Habibi sending me flowers every day? If you haven't listened to that episode, you wouldn't know why. But that basically started the Habibi tradition since then. So
since then, a lot of City Habibi things happened effectively. I think for me, pioneers in the world of animation. Very early episode. I think that was really where we sort of got it. We sort of got what we were doing. So that one is always very close, very dear to my heart. And then there was another one about I don't know what it was called, but it was about giving advice. All the Friendly Advice, episode 15. And it had a story. It had a story from Fauzi about meeting the strongest person alive.
The guy that lifted the fridge.
That lifted your fridge, yeah. And it was about being good and helping each other out and I just really it was a really good episode that kind of jumped between games and then giving advice, and it felt like a very fun episode.
Well, if we're talking about moments, then Dolly's on the PlayStation when Naha mentioned her mom puts a dolly on the PlayStation. I don't think I've laughed that hard since.
Right.
I think that was the hardest I've laughed at Habibis.
I thought it was so hysterical when like people sent me photos of actual dollies on PlayStation.
Yeah. That was so good.
Good. Well, I think that wraps it up.
So many good.
Yeah,
Episode
Season
1
two,
of
here we go.
season 2.
Bring
Are we
it.
actually calling it season 2, or are we just going to call it episode 53?
I don't know.
I think we're going to call it episode 53.
Yeah,
That works for me.
It's too complicated otherwise. Like,
Yes.
wait.
Keep track of like episode numbers and now season numbers is too much.
Yeah, I would have to explain to my dad how that all works. Like, we're good. We're just going to keep counting. We're going to keep counting. Yo,
Right,
nice. I'm excited for more Habibis.
As am I.
Let's wrap it up. This was another episode. So you're listening to the Habibis podcast, 3 game developers drinking good Arab tea. My name was Rami Ismail, your host for this episode.
This is the latest intro we've ever had.
Listen, if you can finish it, then we can wrap it up.
Do it. I think Rami forgot that he was the host for a second. I was like, I'm supposed to wrap it up.
Yeah. Oh wait, it's me. Well, that's why I just why I did the intro. So now one of you has to introduce yourself.
And I'm Darius.
Nice, we did it at the same time. Absolutely
Yes.
right. 1 year in, and we still don't know how to do an intro.
Wonderful.
Good. Anyway, let's see if we can do the outro properly. Okay.
All right.
So if you have anything you want to send this to us at info@thehabibis.com or join us at our Discord at discord.thehabibis.com. And then for now, see you next week. Salam.
Salam.
That one was nice. we will get this. We will get this eventually. One day we will get this.
We've been saying this for a year.
Well,
Year
it's
2.
inshallah we'll get it.
But so
Inshallah.
it doesn't beat like when Osama goes off script. I was like, but say this, I don't know. We love you.
It's
Discord,
got so
I give you hugs.
much pressure. It's so much pressure. It's like you're on the spot. You're like, end this. Like,
The funniest thing about it is we used to have just a document with the intro and outro text.
yes, I still got it wrong.
Now I do it by heart. Like the intro, I can do the intro, but the outro is such a mess.
We've never had an outro written. That's the problem.
That's
And I love it because like whenever it's Osama and he's about to wrap it up, I'm like, all right, let's see what's gonna happen.
right.
It's like watching
This is
transition.
gonna be good.
It's watching a train wreck in slow motion, right?
But it's not just a train wreck. It's also a train wreck where the transition was beautiful. It's like beautiful onto the rails, and then the train just does a backflip. It's like what is happening?
I love it. Well, now I guess I have to lean into it. It's on brand.
So it goes like, speaking of endings, wow, what a beautiful segue. And then emails, and
Emails.
Please
Yeah.
don't forget to send us emails.
Something.
Tell the listeners to email us, please.
I think I even get the email wrong sometimes.
It is true.
sometimes you just give them like, yes, you can send us emails, and then starts.
You can talk about end of episode. Well, let's do end of episode now because we talked through the entire outro track.
Oh my god, that's a first.
All right.
All right.
Salam.
Salam.